Session. The draft agenda review amendment approved. All in favor?
Mike's please.
Yep. I'd like to call to order and have a pledge of allegiance.
Wait, hang on. Did y'all do the draft agenda?
I did. No.
No.
Yeah, draft agenda review, amendment approval. All in favor?
No changes?
No changes.
Aye.
Aye.
Call to order, a pledge of allegiance to the flag, please. I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I have some additions I would like added to the minutes of the July 2nd meeting.
Okay.
Let me get them for you folks here.
Can you read the statement also, please, while she's finding her notes?
Under A
Under
of
A.
7 p.m.
Does any member?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Call to order. Does any member of this council have any conflict of interest, the appearance of conflict of interest, and with regards to any items on the agenda? If so, please state it at this time.
No.
Charlie? No. Jan?
No.
Mark? No.
Okay.
Shoot, go.
Okay, I would like to make some additions to the July 2nd meeting, and I've got copies for everybody, and then I will read what I want changed. Get one for Lisa. You have one for Lisa? Yeah, okay. There you go. Pass them down.
Good job.
Good enough. I would like the following added to the minutes. And I'm going to read it just as I've got it. I would like it added just as I've got it on this document. July 2nd, 2018 minutes draft. 7:00 p.m. regular council meeting. Page 4, 8, Town Council second regular meeting, June 26, 2018 at 9 a.m. Under old business, items 1 and 2, H, old business 1, discussion of mayoral vacancy. Bullet, Mayor Pro Tem Benton asked for open discussion. There was none. Mayor Pro Tem Benton moved to approve Greg Weiss as mayor of Sunset Beach. Result, the vote, ayes, Benton and Harris, nays, Corbett and Nern, equals tie vote with Soretta absent. Questions between Benton and town clerk, who advises can schedule for another meeting. Harris requests reschedule. Discussion interrupted with motion. 2, motion to not fill the mayor vacancy. Councilman Corbett complimented Mayor Pro Tem Benton and moved that he be kept on as Mayor Pro Tem until November of 2019. No discussion called for. Result, approve, ayes, Benton, Corbett, Nern, nays, Harris. Under old business, items 5 and 6. 5, dredging, compatible sand survey cost. Exact wording of motion. Discussion calls about a lot of things besides approval of $43,023. Number 6, discussion concerning paying for dredging project. Minutes do not reflect request that Harris, who made the motion on assessment method and letter, be involved in authoring of the letter. Thank you. That's all that I want added.
Lisa, could I ask you a question? Isn't this in the minutes, most of this?
No, it's not.
I'm
I would
asking-
not have done
I'm
that.
asking Lisa.
The number two, not fill the mayor vacancy was changed after Grady had reviewed everything. And those are the minutes that are reflected in here now.
So it was added on later on after reviewing it and giving it to our attorney, Mr. Grady.
Well, after I reviewed it, I'm not even sure I understand what was discussed at the meeting I wasn't at, but at the end of the day, you can't go wrong with the verbatim transcript, which is what Ms. Anglin has put in the current edition of the minutes, so that the verbatim speaks for itself, whatever that may be, and there's no efforts to editorialize in one's perspective versus another. Go with what the verbatim hearing contained, and I think that's the way it should be from the town attorney's perspective.
I'm not questioning the verbatim of the motion. I'm just saying there are other things that I would like to see in the minutes that occurred at that meeting.
Do we have any other discussion regarding these add-on minutes? Charlie,
I don't have any problem with them.
you have any problems with that? Okay, neither do I. Can you adopt that, Lisa, please? Okay.
Thank you.
Need a motion, a second, and vote.
Oh,
Second, all in favor?
aye.
So we approved the minutes for July 2nd meetings. Any more discussion on the other minutes? Charlie,
No.
No.
all in favor? Aye.
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 At this time, I'd like to do public comments on agenda items only, please. Any public comments? At this time, I'd like to bring the town administration reports.
All right. Just a few items. The Living Shoreline project, it's in the final design, has been solidified after the many comments from the state during the scoping meeting and back and forth with the consultants. That has been submitted to CAMA. It's in their stack of review. We're just waiting to hear back from them, but once the permit's issued, we'll be moving forward.
Do you have a timetable?
All we've been told is it's in the stack. So we're going to try to push them to get it pushed out as fast as possible because we need to do this before the money runs out this November. GSATs, I know we sent out to the council recently also from the latest GSAT meeting, but there's money available for projects. We've discussed that before. The deadline is that they've set the deadline for these discretionary funds for the end of September. We need to have a ready design to go for the larger pot of money. However, plans and studies are also allowed. Pedestrian projects versus transportation projects are separated slightly. But the ultimate thing here is the more money we ask for them, the lower our project scores. So the town has to be ready to also put more money into it to score higher to get the lower amount of funds. So it's a catch, 22 on how big of a project we want to see done and how much money the town's willing to put forth in that. So we're coming up with a few ideas in-house that we're hopefully going to have something if we want to proceed with these for discussion at the next meeting.
The next meeting?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the 21st, we're hoping to have some project concepts, see if there's anything y'all want to move forward with.
Do we need to put that on agenda now, Lisa? It's on?
It's
Okay.
already on there, but
So staff is going to come up with the prioritization and details for the projects, or?
we're going to come up with some concepts and figure out which way you want us to go. All this will have to end up being engineered, unless we're going for a study and a plan. That's a completely different process.
Okay.
And hopefully we can decide that at the next meeting.
Okay.
And as far as planning goes, y'all get my reports every week, but the biggest project we've worked on mostly was the CRS recertification. They bumped the timeline this year. It's usually October that we have to work on this through, but we only had 1 month this year, so it consumed a lot of time. Everything got to the state, the federal government on this, and I haven't heard anything back, so hopefully we'll be maintaining our 7 rating, which is good. 7's good. And then as far as our finance report, we've got a little blurb in here. Jan's prepared for y'all. Jen Lennon, our consultant. But ultimately, the town's in the good, and last year's money came in higher than our expenditures, so kudos to us.
Good. Lisa, at this time, I'd like to make a motion and let Grady speak on behalf of the Cabanas, so we could release them, and then we'll do the department reports.
So in advance of tonight, we had worked on the language under section 9507 of the town's code of ordinances, as well as in addition to the penalty chart of the town's code under 95.99. In reviewing the matter, in discussions with council, in closed session, these are the changes I would propose on the fly, subject to me typing it up tomorrow and circulating it to council and Ms. Anglin and Hiram. Section 95.07, the title would be Placement of Tents, Cabanas, Shading Devices, or Canopies, Sporting Equipment, and similar terms. Let me go back a step. Nope. Yeah. The next section would read the placement of tents, cabanas, shading devices, or canopies, parentheses, which exclude baby pop-up tents and umbrellas, close parentheses, sporting equipment or similar items on the beach strand must abide by the following regulations. A, no tents, cabanas, shading devices, or canopies, collectively cabanas, sporting equipment or similar items, collectively recreational items. And it goes on to read all the way to the end of that section. This path extends to the water's edge along the center line projection of these accesses. I would then insert an additional sentence. Umbrellas are defined as single center poled shading devices. Period. B would remain unchanged. C would remain unchanged. D would remain unchanged. E would remain unchanged. F would be changed to delete Eastern Standard Time and replace it with the word local, wherever Eastern Standard Time appears in subparagraph F. G would remain unchanged. H would read as follows. Commercial vendors and/or rental enterprises shall not erect or remove cabanas for their respective customers. Any persons using a cabana, and that word is capitalized, shall be responsible for erecting and removing the cabana, again capitalized, in conformity with the above provisions of A through G of this section and all other applicable town ordinances, including without limitation the following. Number one, no person, employee, agent, volunteer, or any other person or entity in any way affiliated with a cabana vendor and/or rental enterprise may erect or remove a cabana on the town's beaches. Set up and takedown of any cabana is the sole responsibility of the person using and/or renting the cabana. This includes the transport of the cabana to the beach strand. Number two, a cabana vendor and/or rental enterprise may not recommend a service or person to their customers for the assembly, erection, and/or removal of cabanas.
That was may not, or may?
May not.
May not.
And number three, cabanas subject to this ordinance shall only be delivered to the renters and/or customers' place or places of occupancy. Cabanas shall not be delivered to the town's beaches, parentheses, which includes without limitation the town's pier or piers, walkway or walkways, or other public trust areas, close parens, by any cabana vendor and/or rental enterprises. With respect to the addition to the penalty chart in section 95.99, we need to make sure the town council defines what an infraction is. Right now, each infraction would result in a $250 civil penalty fine. I need to understand better from council what an infraction is defined as. Here's some hypotheticals. Cabana truck vendor has 10 cabanas in the back of the pickup and drops 5 out in violation of this cabana ordinance at one walkway of the town, and goes down and drops another 5 cabanas at the other walkway in violation of the ordinance. Is it 2 violations, or is it per umbrella as an infraction in violation of the ordinance?
Do we give you an answer on that now?
I'd like that so I can draft it.
I think it should be per umbrella dropped off,
Or cabana.
or cabana, rather.
Per cabana,
Per cabana.
as defined in the ordinance.
I agree.
I believe each, dropping 5 off and dropping 5 off is 2 violations.
John?
I think it's 10 violations.
So,
Let me add a wrinkle. Let's take the same hypothetical. Those 5 umbrellas that were dropped off, then after the fact, because the town's enforcement personnel only catches initially the 5 umbrellas being erected in violation of the ordinance on the beach. But then we later, in our investigation, uncover the fact that those had been dropped at the walkway. Is it 5 infractions at the walkway, or is it 5 infractions on the erection of the cabanas on the beach, and then we subsequently learn that they were dropped there? Is that now 10 violations? I'm just exploring this. I want to make sure I've got a clear understanding of the infraction.
I really think it's difficult for the beach to regulate these violations. I really believe it falls on chief and the police department to catch these people putting these tents right at the walkways, and that's where we have to do it.
So baseline is each umbrella is an infraction if it's done in violation of the ordinance.
Correct.
Y'all want to do a motion on that?
We have a motion. I agree that each tent should be a violation.
Each cabana.
Tent.
So
Sorry.
moved.
Cabana as defined.
Cabana.
Cabana defines all of them.
Yeah.
So moved.
John?
Aye.
Charlie?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I'll get this over to Hiram and Lisa in the morning, Chief Claimer as well, and Chief Childress. Okay, any questions?
Nothing. Grady, thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Nice seeing you again.
Good seeing you too. Stay dry.
Yeah.
Good night. Take care.
Be safe getting home.
Thank you.
Can we go now to departmental reports, please?
So did that formally,
Do we need to take a vote?
we actually have to formally adopt that
Yeah.
ordinance?
You are correct.
We need a motion on the actual.
Do I hear a
ordinance
motion?
As he read it.
A motion to approve the revised ordinance as I have indicated. The revisions will be made by me in the morning.
Any discussions on that?
No.
No.
Already? All in favor?
Need a motion
Aye.
and a second.
I
So
need a motion.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All right.
Vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now be careful.
Do you want to sort of explain the timeline that you're anticipating for this to go into?
At this time, we're going to implement these rules into the middle of September or October, and at that time have a formal vote on either cabanning the cabanas if they can't, live within these rules, which we tried several times to allow them to work with us, and they have not. And So in the next couple weeks, we'll see where it goes, but we will have a formal vote sometime in the end of September, October, to either to keep cabanas or eliminate them completely.
But the revised ordinance will be back for your signature
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
And then it'll be put on our website. And I think, Lisa, could we contact all the cabana people and send them a letter so there's no mistaking that they've received the new ordinance and the new rules?
Beach Patrol, I think, has a contact.
Is it- we have it?
Patrick had to leave. So.
We left, okay. Chief, do you have their names? Okay. So should I call
We'll see
Richard
if the fire-
tomorrow morning?
We'll see if the fire department can give us the list.
Okay. And then at that time, Lisa, please send it to all the,
And to be clear, this will be effective tomorrow,
After
Well,
it's gotta be-
after it's signed.
gotta be
After it's
signed
signed.
it's
and
got to be
posted.
signed.
If it's signed tomorrow, it's effective tomorrow,
Exactly.
just to be clear.
It's clear, Jan.
Okay.
All right. Hammer, you're done your report, all right?
Yeah, but I did 3 in a row.
Okay, you're done.
I'll go home now.
Finance, do we have the finance people?
I did my finance
We
report.
did finance, okay. Stormwater,
Not a drop to spare.
I believe you all should have a copy of my report. We have been working diligently. I've actually commandeered the Public Works crew, and we've been putting several fires out. There's a lot of sinkholes from all the rain. We prioritized those by the ones that were public safety danger, right by the roads. We didn't want a car running off, having tourists get hurt and that type of thing. We are continuing to investigate other areas that need attention. We're getting to them as fast as we can.
Equipment.
Do you keep something like a log
Yes,
so that, you know, a lot of people have been calling in complaints and things like that,
yes,
so that there's a track record that may or may not, I don't know whether it needs to be posted on a website or something, which just, you know, helps provide feedback
correct,
to the public beyond the person who actually made that call.
correct.
and did it.
I'll make sure we can get that on the
Okay,
website.
I think it's important that people know that,
Yes,
you know, what action you're taking.
yes,
so Rich, I talked
If their
to,
puddle's not
sorry.
being fixed, they want, you know,
yeah,
Rich, I talked to Dustin, he said that, you know, priority is to fix the ones that are, the pipes that are broken, and then we'll eventually go into the areas where they're ponding, empty lots being filled up.
correct.
Okay. Do you have a timetable when we'll start looking at some of the issues as far as the ponding of some of these empty lots?
My hope is next spring.
Okay,
Our key here when we get started is to start on all this area back here. We're gonna try to handle as much in-house as we can with the Public Works guys, which will help our budget on the back side of that too. We do have a couple of additional projects I'm gonna be bringing to you, since we did have one of the property owners take care of their problem themselves.
okay.
Where are we with purchasing the equipment that we need to get started with the stormwater?
The equipment has been ordered. We should have the multi-hog possibly at the end of this week, first part of next week. The camera system is gonna be here the end of this week, first part of next week. And the vac truck, I was told to expect the end of the month.
Okay, good.
So that's been ordered. Everything's on its way. They're actually painting the vac truck.
Where's that coming in from, Rich?
They have to take it up to Greensboro to have it painted.
Okay.
The cab will be white. The rest of the body will be our Sunset Beach color blue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any others?
are these incidents, problems that we've had, are you incorporating them into the overall stormwater plan and
Yes,
program? Those that don't need to be fixed immediately or can't be fixed immediately?
Right, and they will be addressed. I'm trying to go out to each homeowner. We're taking care of an additional one over on 16th off of North Shore.
Yeah,
I believe you should have gotten my email.
I got that, thank you.
I just need it to dry up a little bit. It's we can't do anything.
Okay.
Hey, Richard, what's a priority as far as level? Sea trails, and then the.
Sea trail, and then we're gonna, later on, this fall, early part of winter, we're gonna get out on the island. I wanna make sure we have most of the tourists off
Right, that's a good
prior
idea.
to that. Because that back truck takes up a lot of room.
You also removed 15 bags, filter bags.
Yes, we did.
Are you gonna put them back in?
That's dependent on y'all. We've actually removed all the bags.
And we've also discussed doing it seasonally. The bags are a great benefit to prevent silt and sand going into the marsh and areas. Unfortunately, they're also what may have led to certain flooding of streets that are not normally
It
flooded
did.
Why
because
do they get clogged?
they get clogged with the silt and sand going in from the rushing rain. See, the rains we've been having lately are heavier than even the storm drains themselves are designed for. So when you go ahead and add an obstruction to that, and then more silt and sand go into it, it compounds an issue. So it's either infrastructure damage or stop silt from which ends up going over there anyway because the storm drains are clogged
And
and
they're running
what
over the
rushes over the streets. So it's a catch-22 for us. So we're thinking about seasonally capturing the winter rains and with the bags, pulling them out right before hurricane seasons.
So that would be,
Well-
I'm sorry, Jan.
Our new stormwater program I'm concerned about the silt going into our estuaries.
I know.
That's a problem. Are we looking at any solutions?
I will
To
be
handle
doing
that
some
problem?
research for some other methodology to handle that. The biggest problem is, they would work wonderful, or much better, I should say, if everything was hard surface. But when we have dirt roads out there, that marl acts like a paste on them. And the water literally ends up running over the top of them, straight over the bulkheads and into the marsh. If you had manpower that every rain shower, we could go out and take out 88 bags and clean them and put them back in the same day. It would take a village to get that done in
Yeah,
a
I
day.
understand.
Is there a private company that could do that for us? I'm asking.
I'm sure there's a company out there that will do anything they want to put the money
Yes,
forward for it.
anything you
but-
want to pay for.
The biggest thing to realize is, I mean, this year's an anomaly. It really is. The ground's oversaturated. We've had more rain than we get in a normal year already. And that's really, most of that's already been for 2 months. I mean, it has just been nonstop rain, and no one designs a stormwater system for the amount of rains that we've had. So
There's nothing.
comparing what we're trying to do to what we've experienced over the last 30 days, you can't. It's apples and oranges. But the measures we're trying to take, this is a 10-year plan. We've got to get things fixed. We've got to get things rolling before we start looking at how we can improve upon what's already there, because half the stuff we don't know what the problem is with yet, because we got to get in there and get our hands dirty. We'll have a better idea. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, it will take a year or more to fully grasp everything that needs to go forward. Our plan is a good start. The work we're doing is a good start, but we won't really know for sure for a while. So we can hypothesize a lot of ways, we can look at a lot of things, but it's going to be a trial and error for a while on what's going to be a good work.
But we are on our way to starting.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
Great.
I would, Rich,
yes, sir.
well, we all received emails, and I had a couple calls about this, the flooding. And I assured these people that we budgeted money for stormwater this year. I want to make sure everybody knows that this is not just a knee-jerk reaction to these. This
No.
has been planned.
This was planned.
Money's in the
Sir.
budget for it.
Yes.
So we were acting on this before we got this unusual amount of rain.
And it's, unfortunately, it's not a fast process. You're dealing with properties. We're gonna have Grady get us the easement agreement. We have to have the legal work done. Certain areas we don't have easements where the stormwater pipes are. We have to get up with those people in order to get them to sign an agreement. If they don't, we have to go to
Where's that
our
problem
second
occur the most?
alternative. Pardon?
Where's that problem occur the most?
Island.
On the island,
On Island?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. But we are diligently working on it. with the resources we have right now.
What about the storm drains on Main Street, on the south side of Main Street? Those are DOT storm drains. Are they helping with this project?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that
Shouldn't
I'm
we
aware of.
involve them?
Dustin's probably know more about.
Yeah, did DOT install those?
It's like a sidewalk, we accepted it.
Oh, boy.
It's common practice.
Any more questions?
No.
Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich.
Just like to add that we're spraying for mosquitoes as much as we can, but due to the rain in the mornings has hampered us from doing that. So we are going to start this week doubling up on areas that we could not get to, and even we're going to start spraying some on the weekends to try to get ahead of these. So
I've never seen them this bad, ever.
we've had a lot of
I know.
water.
It's not rained this bad ever.
I know. A lot of standing water.
And a lot of standing water. But if anybody has any water on their property or next door or anything like that, we got the briquettes. They can come get them. They're free, and they can go put them out. And they'll dissolve, and they'll kill the lobbies. They won't kill the ones that's already hatched, but they will kill the lobbies.
Okay.
Are they harmful to animals?
No.
Question not related to the stormwater and that.
Okay.
We still have the one DPW employee who pulls back garbage cans and
Yes.
recycle cans?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Could we kind of be clear that pulling back the garbage cans and recycle cans should mean pulling them off the street, underneath the house, or at least onto the concrete pad, not just midway up in the driveway?
Well, if he can get under the house safely, without so many cars in the driveway and without damaging the car, that's what we've told him to do, to get them up under the house as possible. If there's a lot of cars there, try not to hit a car, just get it out of the right of way. Because I know some places are a little bit tighter than others with that, but I can talk to him also about to make sure that if you
Encourage him to
can,
take them back when he can.
yes, if you
Right,
can,
thank you.
take them back to the house, yes.
Dustin, real quick, on the morning pickup on Saturday, sometimes the truck comes so early that the renters are not out yet, so they haven't taken the garbage out. So the new renters coming in has got a full recycling cans and full regular can.
Waste Industry has stated that they will not delay. They will be here at 7 o'clock, if not earlier than that, because they want to get off the island before traffic picks up.
Now, does the renters, I mean, they're like Century 21,
They
do they
should,
post that?
they should be. The renters, they should have it in their information when the garbage is picked up. We can touch bases with them.
Because that's
and
been a
try.
problem lately.
Right.
They get there at 7 o'clock sharp, but some people are not up yet.
Right.
They don't have to leave the house till 10, so they're cleaning the house, getting packed, and we just have to try to enforce that a little bit. Can we send something to the Century 21 and the other two, property owners?
I'd like to say
management?
also universally it's accepted that if you trash is, to be out the night before for pickup. So, I mean, we have no problem sending this out, and we'll work with them, but, it's their job to police their properties.
Mhm.
Yeah, but, a lot of the renters just don't get the word that they need to get the garbage cans out the night before.
Or some just,
We'll touch bases with the rentals
Yeah,
and see.
some homeowners.
Yeah, and some,
Dustin, thank you. Any other
Very good.
questions?
I'm good.
you good?
Thank you.
Ken, you okay?
Thank you.
I'm okay.
Oh, Dustin, real quick, I want to ask you real quick. I know we lost another employee today. Are we going to put that in the papers and try to get another person for Dustin?
Yes.
yes,
All right. Do we need to vote on that?
No.
Put the advertisement out? Okay.
no.
Nope.
All right. Hey, Chief.
I'd like to do just a quick follow-up on the Cabana ordinance, and I know, Ms. Harris, you were stressing that that ordinance will go into effect tomorrow when it's signed. I would like just to make sure that we give proper notice to the cabana vendors prior to taking enforcement action. I think it's only fair that they be notified of the change before we
How
start
many
taking
days do you need?
enforcement action. However long it takes to get in touch with the proper person. So whoever's responsible for sending that out, if we have a reply, or I don't know if we want to hand deliver it perhaps. I don't know where the vendors are located, but that may be best. if
Well,
we just
look in the
hand
street
deliver it.
tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock,
7
they'll be
o'clock.
there.
Well, it won't be signed.
We're
at
gonna
I
do
know.
that too.
That was
Based
a
on the
joke.
complaint we had, well, no, we had a
Best case
complaint
scenario,
earlier
this
that
will go into
be out there.
effect for enforcement on Wednesday. Best case scenario.
Best case.
Okay,
Best case.
that's fine,
The
Chief.
sooner the better.
I don't
I just
put
want
the-
to be sure that, we're being fair to everybody, that they understand. As long as
Okay.
the people that are running the shows there know it's their responsibility to tell
Do
their.
do you understand my concerns that most of this is going to have to be policed by the police department? Because
Absolutely.
they are just dumping them at the streets, and they know that I not shouldn't do that.
Absolutely.
So,
Right, and the fire chief and I sat down with Attorney Richardson and talked about this language to be sure that it was something that we could enforce when we do see a violation. We thought that was the clearest way collectively that we could enforce it.
okay.
There's also a concern in terms of the speed with which the trucks
Correct.
delivering the canopies drive,
Correct.
the places that they park their trucks,
Yes.
and the sides of the road that they choose to drive on.
Yes, and we are taking enforcement action on that. We're trying to be vigilant to watch for those violations. I did just tell the off-going shift that will be going off at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning to let the oncoming shift know that I expect them down on Main Street tomorrow morning to watch for those violations. So
Thank
we're
you.
aware of the parking in private property, parking in the fire lane, blocking the beach access, all of the things that.
Driving on the wrong side of the road.
We haven't seen that, but
Well,
I
if they're
haven't-
facing the wrong
I
way,
yeah.
How many violations have we had to date? Do you
I'd
know?
have to check. I don't know if this.
I'm talking about the vendors.
For setting up cabanas?
Yes.
0.
No?
No, ma'am. I don't believe any. None have been written by the police department. I can't speak for the beach patrol.
So this new ordinance that we passed, you feel like you comfortably can give these guys tickets if they break the rules?
Have we collected
do.
any money?
And Ms. Harris, I saw a vendor, a person who I thought was a vendor, on Main Street a week or so ago, and I followed him out to the Strand, watched him set up a cabana. I went over to talk to him, and he was very, very polite to me. And I said, hey, you're in violation of the ordinance. And he says, no, I don't own a cabana rental company anymore. I sold that, and now I work for a cabana setup company, which under the old language prior to tonight, it was allowed. So I gave him till the end of the day to show him, to verify to me that he had in fact done that. And sure enough, he came up at 3 o'clock and showed me that he had. So that was the problem we had, is with the loopholes. I think the wording in this, when we sat down and talked about it, this is going to eliminate the loopholes. It says the person that is renting the cabana is the person that's responsible for setup, nobody else. So anybody outside of that, they're in violation of that ordinance. So, and it's pretty clear the direction the council wants to go. That message will be delivered to our employees, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
In addition to that, I did want to talk about some incidents that we had over the weekend. I wish the fire was here so they could kind of help me out with this, because I wasn't present at these incidents, but I'm aware that at least 4 times our beach patrol or our fire department went into the water to pull some people out this weekend. One incident in particular, when they brought a gentleman out of the water, he was not breathing, he was not conscious. Some folks on the island had the presence of mind to use a boogie board once he got into shallower water to help get him out of the water. They did CPR on the gentleman right there on the Strand, and I was happy to hear that this gentleman actually went to the fire department today, walked in on his own 2 feet to thank the men that were there that helped him out. So very successful actions by our fire department and our police department over the weekend. But we had a busy weekend on the Strand for sure. Our UTV is completely done. It's outfitted, lights are on it, it's ready to go. Policy has been drafted for that, and it was sent out today to the members. As soon as they have the policy signed off on and they're trained on the operation of the vehicle, which I'm hopeful will be by the end of this week, you'll begin to see that at special events and on patrol on the island. Several weeks ago, I presented the council with options for alligator management. I would like to bring that up again, and perhaps we could put it on a future agenda to talk about specifically what the town wants to do going forward. On the 15th of this month, I'm sending 4 officers who volunteered to learn how to
Was Lee one of them?
learn how to capture them and relocate them. They will become certified after this training, which is being put on by North Carolina Wildlife. It's no cost to the town other than the salaries for the officers that are attending. I jumped on this even though the town hasn't made a decision, only because if we wait till next year, we're gonna have to pay for the training. So I thought, let's at least get them certified. The town just has to make a decision what we wanna do for alligator management. Do we wanna have a hunt? Do we wanna do we wanna obtain an endangered species permit? Which if we do that, then our 4 certified officers will be able to capture and relocate the animals, the alligators. And we're getting calls every day. Right before I walked over here, we're heading to the beach for one.
Lisa, can you put that on the agenda for September, please? Is that quick enough, or you want it? That's the only time we're going to have a full council. in
It's
September.
fine. September's fine. Yeah, September's fine. Absolutely. We have some very food conditioned alligators in Twin Lakes, and I had a complaint last week. A gentleman had saw some folks with some out-of-state plates that had raw chicken and were throwing it into the water. He recommended that perhaps the town put additional signage at the water's edge, maybe with the state ordinance on there that talks about the penalties. He took it upon himself to talk to these folks and tell them what they were doing was wrong, and they didn't take too kindly to that. But later that night, he saw that there was an alligator, in fact, out of the water in the parking lot. I contacted Wildlife to find out what can we do, what can they help us with right now for the several food-conditioned alligators that we have in Twin Lakes. They don't do anything with those sort of alligators. They would contract that out. It would cost the town about $300 per animal if we want to have those removed. Because
Not killed, right?
They'd have to fish them out of the water. So it's more expensive to do it that way.
Relocate 'em,
Correct, to relocate them, correct. But we do have, I mean, I know there's 1 or 2 that they hear a car door and they swim right up to the edge of the water because they're food conditioned.
Do we try to catch these people feeding these alligators?
We do the best we can.
Because I've seen it happen too with the chicken.
It's something that's, if we're there and we see it, we can take enforcement action on it. If we show up after the fact, it's difficult to enforce. But I would definitely be, if we see it, I know that we're going to take enforcement action on it. It's creating a situation where, especially if they're in a feeding frenzy and these people leave and a family shows up and want to take a picture with the alligator that's now, in a frenzy because it was just eating raw chicken, that creates a very dangerous situation. But again, that's a small price to pay versus, I guess the alternative. But that would be a decision for the town if that's something that we want to entertain.
Dustin, can we fence that area in so that gators can't come out of that opening right there? Why not?
That's not our property.
It's not.
The bank, put it on the bank.
It's still not our property.
Is that Mr. Gore's? Can we ask Greg if we can fence it in?
We can try.
Because I hate to see some kid, like you said, walk up
Absolutely.
there. Once they have no fear of people,
Right.
they'll walk right up to you.
And I'm told there's so many in that body of water that even if we pay for 5 of them to be removed, there's going to be 5 more that'll take their place. That's from what I understand and talking with Wildlife. I don't have, trust me, I'm by no means an expert, but it's kind of a, I guess.
You mean you're not taking this class?
Oh, no. No, I should have clarified. When four people volunteered, they weren't from Ohio. So,
I'm sorry. Well, the chief and I had talked about this. You go up there and there's someone right at the water's edge with 2 little kids stooped down, looking at the alligator and taking pictures. I don't know anybody can be so foolish, but there are plenty of fools out there because you see it all the time. And I can't believe we can't get them removed.
Well, like you said, there's a lot out there.
we
Oh,
can.
yeah.
It just comes, it comes with a price tag, which again, I mean, I would never say, well, $300 is too much for someone's safety. But if we remove, like I said, 5, 6 of them, however many there are, the more inferior gators that we're being bullied, so to speak, away from the shore, are now gonna have that opportunity to take over now that these ones are gone.
Lisa, can we look into better signage? With a, you know, with a hefty fine, what is the fine now, if they're called, 200, is it 250?
I know it's a misdemeanor, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Is that something we regulate, is that the
It's
state?
We had talked about putting a trail cam out there too, to try to catch offenders.
Mhm.
But again, if, you know, depending upon the angle, what it catches, and if it's somebody from out of town, all we're gonna get is an image of someone doing it. We're gonna need a lot more than that to try to help us out.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of, you know, not a lot of space out there to do something like that.
So I'll talk to Greg Gore, and you look into the signage, Lisa, and I'll talk to him about it, see if we put some type of fence there. Keep people away from the water line, the water, at least.
Yeah,
Because I've seen them right up to the water.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that gator will come out of that water so quick, they'll never know what hit them.
You're right, it'll
Aren't
drag them
those
right
the
in.
spots
and
that
if-
people come in and put in John boats and stuff?
Correct,
to
right where they,
go
yeah, right,
fishing?
put kayaks in
Yeah.
there. and-
Yeah.
Mhm,
Which is why there's an opening there.
mhm.
I know. We'll see what we'll do, chief.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good day. Great job. Right now, we'll do all business discussion of concerns about ordinance of cabanas. That was well spoken to by our attorney, so we don't need to discuss that anymore. We took a vote on it. Personnel policy amendment, section 20, interim positions paid by policy. Hiram, do you want to take that, or?
Yeah, this is, well, we've already discussed this before, is the proposed draft for pay for interim assignments, just to be added to the personnel policy, what staff drafted up. Attorney Richardson has redrafted and submitted this for your consideration to add to the personnel policy. Packet page 27.
Okay.
We're going to put it on the 21st agenda. Oh, yeah. Ha. I need a recommendation to put it on the 21st agenda meeting for discussion for the possible amendment at that meeting.
Okay.
This is, you're getting this just a review until.
Is there a motion to,
Yeah, I move we do it on the
21st.
21st.
second?
Second.
I have one question though to consider.
Mhm.
Does this include, we have the pay goes into effect after somebody's been in position for 30 days. Is that pay retroactive while they've been carrying out those duties? Or is the first 30 days at the standard pay salary and then only gets the increment increased on day 31 going forward? I think it should be retroactive
Didn't,
to the start.
didn't we discuss this? And if the chief was on a 30-day vacation and the assistant chief took over for that period of time, there wouldn't be any extra compensation.
Right.
But if, say, when Hiram took over as the acting town administrator, it would be from day one because it was.
Well, the policy as written here is not clear to.
Well, for me, we'll just, the discussion should happen at the next meeting, but I'll just clarify this a little bit. Take an FMLA standard, for instance, and let's use the chief and deputy chief of the fire department. The deputy chief's duty is to be the chief in the absence of the chief, period. So there should, it should be in their compensation for that packet. However, let's say the chief's out for almost this 12-week period under FMLA. Well, after the 31st day, it'd be established that the person's gonna be out a lot longer, at which point they'll be pay bumped per percentage of this, whatever. I don't know if it should be retroactive because it's already in their job duties to do that as that function. However, that's entirely up for y'all's discussion. We all decide to sit down and discuss this. This is just the draft by the attorney for y'all to start considering at the time before discussion.
Okay. I'd like everybody to think about it until we get to our discussion.
And I'll run it by Grady to see if that's, any kind of intent or clarification could be followed up in that.
So does it, we have to have a motion now, or you gonna go back and,
Just to put it on the 21st agenda.
Lisa, can you please put it on the 21st? Thank you. Number 3 is leaf and limb removal services, service agreement. Dustin?
Yeah, back in June, we went out for formal bids, or it was an RFP out. We received 2 bidders, Red Tails Tree Service was a total $185,000, and Brush Bandit hauling for $107,800, what we received. We recommend to go with Brush Bandit for the leaf and limb pickup for the town. Also under this, nothing will change. The ordinance that was in place now will stay in place. He's agreed to everything that we have got in place.
So we still need to tie it, bag it,
Yep,
put it on
still
the
need to
curb.
tie it, bag it. And also one thing with him, he offers a trash can service that you can buy from him, a 95-gallon trash can service. So you can get from him because he uses garbage trucks to pick his up. So you can also go with him, purchase a trash can and put your leaf and limb in it also.
Okay.
So, will we
that
still be
regular
able to
garbage,
use our trash cans
Yes.
that we've been using?
Yes,
Okay.
everything's still the same as it is, but you can, if you want to, go with that.
And that can only be used for leaf and limb, not
Yes,
garbage.
yes.
Okay.
And so, does Brush Bandit have all the equipment he needs?
Yes.
To do this service?
Yes, he does.
And so if we approve this, when does that start?
I meet with him tomorrow. If you'll approve it tonight, I got a meeting tomorrow evening with him to sit down and discuss that. Hopefully by the end of the month, he'll be in place.
Any other questions?
No.
Ready to make a vote on it?
We need a motion.
Yeah,
I'm-
I move we award the contract to Bush Bandit hauling totaling $107,800 as the base bid.
Who's this, a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got it, Dustin.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Yeah, you're right. I really like that kid. He's a real highlight. Consulting for Town Administrator Search.
I would like to make a statement. I highly recommend that we do not take action on this tonight. And the reason for that is, we have only 4 councilmen here. We do not have a mayor as such. We have our mayor pro tem serving as mayor as well as a councilman. The possibility exists, I don't know before we take a vote, but the possibility exists that there could be a tie. And it's not fair to take a vote on such an important decision that we need to make for this town without all 5 of us being here to discuss it, to understand where we all stand. I would like to move that we postpone this until such time as we have all 5 of us here.
Jan, I understand what your concerns are, but I'm pretty sure I know where Rich is going to stand on this. I've always been against hiring an outside agency. You know, Rich Serrato was in charge of 100 and some thousand people at one time with the Health and Human Services. You were part of that world too. John was a colonel in the military. I think we know how to hire people. And I think we prolong this for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You know, you're saying that we need a mayor. I agree with that. We also need a town administrator. So I'm not in favor of putting this off. John, Charlie?
Well, I looked at both of the proposals carefully and listened to both of the presentations. And what I took away from that is I think while there will be an increased burden on the town council and perhaps a little bit on the staff, the services provided by these 2 companies don't make up for the increased cost that we would have, and I think that we can do it adequately ourselves. So I would be happy with that, just as my opinion, without going through
Agency.
an agency.
Charlie?
I agree with everything John said, and our last town administrator was hired in-house, and although it will be more work for Lisa and Hiram, I think they're up to doing the job, and we have to move on.
I believe that we should use a search firm, and I'm going to tell you why. Number one, I liked Developmental Associates. I liked their presentation. Not necessarily their oral presentation, but the booklet, the information they provided us. I like a lot of the things they will do for us that we will be unable to do ourselves. A search firm has all the resources needed to select good candidates to bring to us to select from. And they have all those resources in-house. We will have much more time using a search firm that we need to use on more pressing issues like stormwater, dredging, parking, and others. And in an email to all of us through Lisa, Councilman Soretta cited the longstanding practice of not making motions or voting on critical issues unless the full council is present. A search consultant for a town administrator is one of the most important issues we have to deal with. Councilman Soretta asked for a postponement until September with full council and a mayor. In my opinion, this is fair and reasonable. The search for a town administrator is arguably one of the most important tasks, responsibilities we have. It's not about money, it's about doing the right thing. It's time, guys, we put our personal agendas under the table and do what is right for the town and for our citizens.
Is this you or Rich?
This is me.
Okay, you were reading Rich before. I want to make sure.
This is me. This is me. I'm sorry, in quotes.
Okay.
I feel strongly that we should not vote on this issue tonight. It's not fair. It's not fair to our citizens. It's not fair to this council.
Well, I just want to say that, I've always agreed with what you said, but this is a critical matter. We've been waiting for months without a town administrator. This is something that's very important. And I think we've always agreed, Rich and I and you and John and Charlie have always agreed when it was a critical issue, we could vote. And this is something I strongly believe that I've always thought we could do it as a town. That was my vote 4 months ago. It's my vote now. So, any more discussion?
No?
At the beginning of this process, I thought we should use a consultant. After listening to them and reviewing what they provided and going through what the staff and what we can do, I was left with the conclusion that we don't need a consultant. And that's, for the record, is not part of any personal agenda that I'm aware of.
And John asked several questions that interested me, that this is going to be a cost creep where it's going to X amount, but this is going to cost more, this is going to cost more, so that 25,000 will creep up to 35,000. And I don't think the town needs to spend $35,000 when we have qualified people, which we were voted in to represent the town of Sunset Beach. We could do this job.
I believe we're going to have a very difficult time. I've spent 20 years in personnel interviewing candidates for jobs. This is a very high-level job that we're looking for really good candidates for. I understand I'm outnumbered, but this is how I feel, and this is based on my experience in the hiring world. We don't have the talents here to do this job and do it well.
Well, I think I disagree with you on that. And the thing is, I'm glad that we discussed this without yelling and screaming. We're doing it properly. You're right, there could be a vote 3-1, but I like to harmonize. Him and I have talked about this several times. A lot of these agencies will go to the same people we go to find people. Once we put it out there on the school of government, people will apply for the job. The same people that will go through the agency will come to us directly with their resumes, correct?
That's a possibility. I mean, like the consultants did say, they have a network that they work with, so I mean, it's not guaranteed we'd hit all the same pool. But I mean, you know, the same methods we'd still apply through ICMA, we'd still apply through NCLM for the state, we'd send out through the various newsletters and agencies, however y'all wanted to direct it, if that's the way you want to go. I mean, that's just the nature of things, and people will find the jobs when they're looking for them. However, I want to just get a clarification real quick. Ms. Harris, did you have a motion to postpone? Is that what you said? Because we need to make sure that if y'all make a vote, that it's on the right
Okay,
thing.
I move that we postpone this, this action until the September meeting when we have all 5 council members here.
Do I have a second? Any more discussion?
It does,
It
it
does.
does.
Do I know,
But I have just one thing to close the loop. Lisa, if I recall, you were central to the process for hiring the last town administrator? Okay, so having gone through that experience, do you have any doubts about being able to do that and carry it out as effectively as last time? To do it again?
I just moved paper. I didn't make any decisions, but I was the recipient of all paper.
Okay.
how many applications did we get for that job at that time?
We had 144.
And that was all done in-house? Okay.
No, I think, honestly, Jan, I think 144 people, I think we can narrow it down to 10 good ones, and I think as a council, we can pick a proper person. So I'd like to make a motion that we do not accept, they got me all confused. Selecting consultants for,
I make a motion that the town staff and town council serve to advertise for and to handle the recruiting of a new town administrator
so we need to put an RFP out.
with an RFP, yes.
No,
No?
No, no, we don't have an RFP because
But-
as though we're gonna do it.
If, before y'all make a second and a motion, and finalize that, let me just paint the picture. When y'all sat down with Hartwell Wright, he went over the process. You're basically agreeing to multiple special meetings to first solidify what you want to advertise for, who you're looking for, the type of candidate you want, and then we'll push out that advertisement and whatever material package that involves, and then you're agreeing also to a selection process and then an interview process.
But we must have that now because we did it, 3 years ago with Susan Parker, so.
Well, what I'm saying though, that's
Yeah.
basically what you're needing to entail here is not the full process, but recognize that process is going to involve,
All
more
of those
of your
steps.
meetings. There's more steps before we can just go and advertise.
Yeah.
We can't just tomorrow advertise for the job.
Well,
And if
when-
we hired a consultant, we would also be involved in all of those steps.
Exactly.
Helping them define all those things, answering the questions, telling them what we want as a candidate, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, but I
So-
just wanted to make it
yeah.
clear that we wouldn't be putting this out tomorrow.
Right. Hiram, you feel confident that you can lead us in this as
Feel
acting
confident I
town
can
administrator?
Step out of the process, and I feel confident that staff can rise to the occasion if this is the route y'all want to go, yes.
Well, I'm confident the
I'm
staff
not,
also.
I'm not confident in the staff. It's not the staff that worries me.
Is it Rich?
No. Let's, Charlie, we don't have to go there. Guys, is there a motion, to get a motion second that we do it as a council in the town?
John made the motion, I believe, so.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Nay.
1. New business, ABC board member termination, authorize an advertisement. Is the person leaving, is he gonna reapply?
This is the standard practice for y'all. Whenever a position comes
Yeah.
available on a board, y'all authorize advertisement, even if the person has a desire to stay on.
So he'll be notified that he can reapply also, right, Lisa?
Yes.
Okay.
Who are you talking about?
I was going to, an ABC board member's position will expire in October. I forget their name, Don Kozier. Their term's expiring, so it's just a process of advertising that there potentially would be an opening, and for people to submit interest, and then he can submit interest.
It's Don, isn't it? It's Don.
Yeah, Don.
Yeah, yeah. So we need to make a motion to advertise for this position and also notify Don to reapply.
So moved.
All right.
Sec-
You got a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Audio system update consideration. No. That's my discussion. Any other discussion? The town's looking to buy different earpieces, so the mic would go right here on us, because people are complaining that people are not putting their mics to their mouth. But I'm not in favor of the new earpiece.
Would those mics be always on, or is there a on-off capability we have in case we want to have a side conversation?
Yeah, I'm sure there's an on and off.
I looking at it though, I don't see that.
Well, all you're seeing here is the actual headrest. It will be connected to a little box.
And what's the cost of this? This is
800
800?
per item?
for the total upgrade.
Is
The-
there
the-
no other option than things we have to wear on our head?
This is largely due to a complaint from YouTube watchers and everything that we don't speak into our mics enough, and some for the audience here. And it's true, a lot of times we're caught talking like this or getting too, well, I'm not gonna do it.
I know I'm the
But-
worst offender.
But a lot of the time, I mean, this could be solved with some easy, simple habits too, getting everybody to pay more attention to what they're doing instead of getting caught in the heat of the moment and arguing, or not arguing and just sitting back and swiveling in their chair like I do. So it's a matter of, do we want to have it on our, I mean, it's either way y'all want to go, but if you want to do a better presentation for the people so that everything gets picked up, this is the route to go, or start enforcing better habits in yourselves.
I'd like to make a motion that we keep the ones that we have for 30 days, and if we have multiple complaints regarding the mics, that we maybe then bring it back up, Lisa. Is that something we could do? Do I have a second on that? Or anybody?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. This is a discussion on concerning public facilities and lighting updates to LED. And everybody knows that I'm an LED lighting business. I will not be part of this bid or contract at any level. The town does have my audit reports from years ago that they can base the price off of, but I'd like to send this out to multiple companies to switch all over this to LED. We pay $12,000 a month in lighting bills. 50% of that is lighting. So if we can save 75% by taking these T8s and T12s out, it's a huge savings for the town. So I would just like to put that out there, if you want to do something about it, where we can save a lot of money, so.
Well, I just want to see the
Huh?
cost of replacing the bulbs. I'm an LED person also.
Well, the companies will come out and give you free surveys, which will cost us nothing. So we just get free surveys, and there's a lot of companies that I'll give Lisa and hire them to go out there and do it. Well, there's a couple
Yeah.
of companies right in North Carolina that does it, so it's something we should look into for the future, and,
We don't have to do it.
no,
We just-
it's free, so.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Do we have any
So
more
this is
discussion?
drafting an RFP
Right.
to go up, yeah. Sounds good.
Any discussion? More? Jan?
No?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Corbett, Mr. Corbett, this is paid benefits study RFP for staff salaries,
Yeah.
benefits, pay and salaries.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a long time, and it hasn't happened. I think we've reached the stage to, and we have a draft RFP that staff has updated from a previous year where we didn't use it. I think it's it's time to go out and put out the RFP. Doesn't cost us anything to put out the RFP. We see what the proposals are that come back in, see what the cost is that come back in, and then we can make an evaluation whether we want to do it or not. But I just think overall it's an important piece of data that we should have to help us go forward in terms of assessing how we are paying, compensating, and treating our staff. So I want an RFP.
I do not believe that we need to do a wage and benefit survey at this time. We have upgraded much of our salary range with the new budget. However, because this is only an RFP, and I've been assured that this is not a commitment to do a wage and benefit survey, I will support it.
Any more discussion?
I'm fine with this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The directors,
I have one.
you'd like to add something?
I want to change something. You've got under the disposition of directives, the CAMA land use plan discussion. I would like not to have this month. I would like to put it for the second meeting in September.
That's fine.
Remind me of that.
Again, I would like for all 5 of us to be here.
That's fine. Can you change that, Lisa, please?
And I'll notify the consultant.
With that?
And I'll notify the COG since they were going to be here.
Okay, thank you. Any other things, Charlie? Okay.
There was a suggestion that came in one of the emails about the incidents we had on the beach this weekend that brought up the topic again of having like rescue rafts or buoys or something like that available periodically along the beachhead that could be used. I think that's a good idea to put on the agenda to discuss. We need input from the fire and possibly the police department as to what kind of devices, what the cost would be, what they would recommend. These would be something, you know, conceivably at the end of a number of the walkways where there'd be like a rescue buoy, that if there is an emergency in the water, a citizen could grab one and take it out to start the process. And I don't know if that's the best thing. We would also need our legal advisor to talk to us about what the liability implications are if we put those types of devices out there and we don't have trained people to man the devices. But I think it's a topic we ought to discuss and put on the agenda.
Can we put that on the agenda for September? And before that, can we ask our legal advice from Grady regarding that? Is that okay, John?
Yeah, September is fine.
Okay,
The 18th.
that's fine, please.
Yeah. And if we get overloaded on the 18th, we can move it into October. That's something that we should address before the next season.
Okay. Anything else?
Are we ready?
You have on there ERC rules and responsibilities, final draft for the 18th, for discussion between Jan and myself. I would like to meet with you, Jan, and so
Okay.
we can work out our differences before we come to that discussion.
This is scheduled for when?
It's on the schedule for September 18th.
Okay, I think we can meet before then with no
Alright.
problem.
Okay, I'm available pretty much next week.
Or as I know, I am too.
So you guys will get together next day or so and
Okay.
work on a
Can you
date?
try
You
maybe?
really think we can do that?
Well, I think we can have a discussion about it.
Okay.
I would suggest something like 10 o'clock on Thursday, the 9th, here in the council
10
room.
o'clock Thursday the 9th.
That's early for Jan.
That's this week.
Yeah,
Right?
no,
Yeah,
Well, that would be in that room, but we'll be in here. Yeah, we've got interviews set up for that day, so it'll be in and out with people.
do you have a room that we could meet?
We've got my main office y'all can meet in.
That would work fine?
All right.
Yeah. Is that okay, Jan?
Thursday the night, that's
Sorry.
this week,
I'm doing the bad
okay?
habits too.
10 o'clock,
Yes.
Yes.
that's early.
Do you want to do it at 11?
That's late.
Yes.
Okay. See how easy I am to get along with?
Okay,
I'm ready to go home by 10 o'clock.
Any more adults? Charlie, you're okay?
I'm fine.
John?
Oh, well, when, I think we can put off till October, the question of Christmas bonuses for the
Right, we
employees.
could do that in October.
Okay.
John, you okay?
I'm good.
Jan, anything else?
I'm good.
Right now, we'll have public comments on any item for 3 minutes. Please state your name
And address.
and address. Bruce, I'd like to talk to you after the meeting. Don't run out the door.
Katie Hovermill, 1429 Bay Street, Sunset Beach. I actually have two comments, and they're completely separate, so I can do them both in my 3 minutes. One agenda item, I'm sorry that you did not agree with Ms. Harris on putting off the decision to hire a consultant. I'm saying this only because based on your past history of not getting along, as a person who hopes that we can find a very good town administrator, I feel like this is one area where you're gonna all have to agree on everything, and I worry about the long process that's gonna take and the amount of time it's gonna take. I feel like a consulting firm might be able to do a job objectively and quickly and efficiently and have a good product. So that's a comment. I thought it was a good idea. My second comment, well, I was hoping that the fire department was here, because I mainly wanted to publicly thank the Sunset Beach Fire Department and tell you how very proud I was when a family who was visiting us for the week brought their 10-year-old son, whose life's dream is to be a fireman. I called the fire department and learned that as long as they weren't on a call, they would be glad to show him around the fire department. They came back and could not speak highly enough of the members of our fire department on how polite they were, professional they were, and how good they were to their son. Showed him all around the fire department. At the end of the week, when I asked Ben, the family went to Charleston, they went to Southport, they went to the beach, they did all the fun things that you can do at Sunset Beach. When I asked Ben at the end of the week his most favorite thing that he did for the week, it was the visit to the Sunset Beach Fire Department. So I have a little card for the fire chief from Ben thanking him, but I wanted to let you know that how proud I am to have our fire department.
Very good.
Thank you.
Katie.
Anyone else?
Ruth Reynolds, 703 North Shore Drive. Lisa, have we ever hired a consulting firm for the town administrator?
I don't know. I was only here for Susan. Gary was already here when I got here.
Mr. Parker was? Okay,
Linda was here before that.
right, I knew that. But I agree with Council Lady Harris as well, and with the previous speaker, Katie. I think the time consumption that it will take for all of y'all to get your heads together and be assigned certain areas and then come together will be too much. And I think it would be better to hire the professionals that have everything. They're used to this. They're ready, set, go. It's not, well, I can't meet then, so can we meet a month from that? I'm afraid it's going to be a grueling process and will just be dragged out. whereas a professional search firm will bring it all to house for you. They bring it to your doorstep. They will bring it here. And how much is it going to cost if y'all have to fly to do a pre-interview or something? That's the town's money. And to advertise, does it cost on the web to advertise the government page for that?
Some of the outlets would cost something, but those costs were also built into the consultant's fees.
Yeah, I
Just to
mean,
be
I
clear.
think 25,000, there's things I think has been spent on previously, but I think this would be money well spent. Thank you.
Next, please.
Mary Jo Kennedy, 613 Millslow Lane. I guess I'm just a little confused as to our vote on the cabanas. We've given our police department, now they have to man hundreds of people who are going to be setting up and taking down these tents instead of a handful, 5 or 10 companies that know the rules, they know the regulations. I have no interest in any of these cabana companies whatsoever at all, but I think that you're asking our police chief and our police department to patrol hundreds of people in addition to what they're already doing versus 10 at the most. I'm going to guess for this beach there's probably 10 at the very most vendors out there that are setting up and taking down these tents. And I think it's undue for us to ask the police department to do this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, please. Okay, Karen?
Karen Joseph, 915 Sandpiper Bay Drive. I just wanted to give you a very short update on Sunset at Sunset. Right now, we have about 70 vendors. And this is the time of year when more and more applicants will send in their paperwork. So we're feeling rather good about that. Unfortunately, you're not going to like the rest of what I say. This whole cabana issue, in my opinion, sends a very negative message, not only to visitors to Sunset Beach, but to businesses that don't want to come to Sunset Beach. I wish you had not done this. I wish you had just let the program go, because it was working fine, except for the occasional problem. And everything in life has occasional problems. As far as attendance at meetings by council members, the rule that is in place right now did not exist when I was on the town council. If we couldn't make it to a meeting, then we couldn't make it to a meeting, and we didn't get to vote or express our opinion. But the business of the town moved forward. Now, we all have either illness or illness in the family or death in the family, things that we cannot avoid. But as far as all the other things in life, every council member knows when the meetings are. And as a town resident, I expect my council members to be in attendance, and then they get to voice their opinion. As far as choosing a company to hire the town administrator, I was on the council that dealt with the 144 applicants. Lisa Anglin set up a system. It was a perfect system. We did not meet as a council to discuss these applications. In fact, we were told specifically we were not to discuss the applications as a group or even one-to-one. I think we met maybe 3 times as a council through the entire process. Lisa set up an incredible system, and almost everybody followed the rules to the letter because we knew how important this was.
Okay, 3 minutes, Rob.
So I think you all will do just fine as long as you follow her direction, because she really does know what she's doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Anybody else?
Jeff Vogel, 427 Cobia Street. With talking to the rental companies about the garbage cans, if they could put something in there, maybe like that, because the garbage men won't pick up anything that's sitting on the ground. And every time you go by a house that's got 5 or 6 bedrooms, there's 6, 8, 10 cars in the driveway. Garbage cans, lids piled high, and bags of garbage around them, and they won't pick up anything off the ground. So if maybe, I don't know if they can put something in there that certain bedroom size houses should have a second can. Something like that.
Does that
But
cost more?
yeah, they'd have to
Second
buy
can.
like $75, I think it is, a year for another garbage can. But, and also another thing, I don't know, I've contacted CAMA about this, about some of the floats that are on the canal waterways that are really in bad shape, that nobody's taken care of on some of the empty lots. There's one on Canal Street that's, kids are out there and it's about ready to fall in the water. And there's nothing. I talked to Tyler and he suggested go to the CRC that they could put in something like there's really no penalty or anything, keeping an eye on them. And I think there's a lot of floats that are in disarray that are going to get worse because they're sitting in mud a lot of times and nobody's keeping up on them. Because, I mean, the use of them has gone down with the dredging yet, but there's a lot of them that really need a lot of attention.
Do we not have a rule that you can't have a pier and dock unless you have a house? I thought that was in our regulations.
It is now. It wasn't always that way.
Okay.
If
Then
they
those
d-
should be made to be removed.
And if they notify us of addresses and just fill out a complaint form, we have to have a written complaint for this. Then we can go out and do an investigation on the property if there's damaged ones. CAMA can't make them do anything. We can't really make them do anything either, but we can at least let them know there's a complaint on file, there's a potential hazard, and see if they can get them to repair them. It's not like a bulkhead, which we can make them repair. The floats are, the building code doesn't even cover them anymore with the new codes. So there's some enforcement problems that municipalities are going to go through soon. But if you just give us a written complaint of the addresses and stuff, we can at least try to make an effort to get out there and contact the property owners.
Do you come to your
Just come see
office?
my office,
Okay.
yeah.
Would the property owner not be liable if something happened?
Yeah, but that's a civil matter.
But maybe the property owner should be reminded of that.
Right, that's why we'll be sending out a letter just and tell them that it's in disrepair. We feel it's in disrepair. But since it's out of the building codes now, we have no legs to stand on to make them do anything.
Thank you, Jeff.
Because this is on an empty lot that's for sale.
We'll get the complaint to Hiram and he'll do something about it. Thank you. Anybody else? If no one else is speaking, I'd like to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Aye.
Aye. Second. All in favor? Aye.